Okay, good morning everybody. So when you initially open up Encore CS6, you're going to be presented with a similar project space to this. And as you can see, I've got a couple of recent projects here. What I'm going to do is just click on New Project for today's purposes. Now, the New Project box will open up, and you've first just got to rename this something that you can remember it by. So I'm assuming that you're all going to be calling yours FMP. Make sure it's saved to a good location. Ensure that DVD is selected and not Blu-ray, and ensure that you've got your television standard set to PAL, which is the European format. From here, we're going to click OK, and you're going to be presented with a screen similar to this. So yours might look a bit more like this because I've fiddled around with my layout a little bit. So we'll go through this very quickly. Now, the way that Encore is laid out is very similar to Premiere Pro that you should be used to by now. You've got your project space on the left-hand side here. In the middle, you've got your monitor and flowchart. We will be using the flowchart quite a lot today, so if you want to tap that tab just to bring up the untitled project area, you can do that with me as well. So we're going to get straight into this. On the right-hand side rather, just like you to double check in libraries, you should have a set of options, corporate education, etc., etc. And when you click on these, they should load up templates, which you can see at the bottom here. Now, if you don't have these, you might have to quickly just head up to File, or should I say Edit? No, it's in File. No, it's not. There will be, if you're using Windows, it'll be slightly different. So it could be in either File or Edit, but you're looking for Preferences. And I think on Windows, it's in Edit, and near the bottom, it'll say Preferences. You then want to go over to Preferences and head down to Media, and it will say Library Content and the location. Now, yours should be linked up correctly. If not, you just need to hit Browse. Now, this is slightly different because I'm on a Mac computer, but on yours, your Windows should open up. You need to click on the My PC, Windows PC icon, which will then take you to another set of options, one of which will say Program Files. You click on Program Files, you then head over to Adobe, open up the folder that says Adobe, and then look for Encore CS6, double click Encore CS6, and then within that folder there should be a folder that says Library. All you need to do at that point is click on the library, and it should take you to click choose, or whatever yours says. At that point it should locate the library. When you hit OK, they should appear on here. If you've got any issues with that, you just need to talk to your tutor and they will let IT know so that they can make sure it's synced up correctly for you. Okay, so let's get started. So what we're going to do first is import your footage. Now, if you've got a downloaded file, the best thing we're going to do is import as an asset. And when you click on that asset, you'll then be able to choose your video clip. So for purpose of today, I'm just going to choose something at random. So I'm going to choose the show reel, and I'm going to click OK. So I'm imagining this is your FMP project. Now, depending on how many videos you've got to put into your DVD, that's how you can import them all as assets, and they'll all start to appear down here. Now, when you import your asset, you need to do one more step so that it shows up in your flowchart to be used in your flowchart. And to do that, you just need to right-click your file and go to New and select Timeline. What this will do is it will make a timeline from your show reel or your FMP project. You'll notice as well it's moved you over to the monitor space so that as you click through it, you can see what's going on there. So what I'm going to do is just click flowchart to bring it back, and you'll notice straight away that the DVD symbol now has a arrow pointing to that video. Now, that's all good and well, but I want to create a title screen because I'm thinking of this like a DVD. So what I'm going to do now is go down to my templates and hit Education. And in here there will be some menus that you can select. Now, just note that the menus in SD, if ever it just says submenu in SD, it'll be in 4:3 aspect ratio, and you know we're working in HD, or we're working with the idea that most TVs now are 16 by 9, so make sure that your menus are in HD. Now you'll notice within your templates you get a menu in HD and you get a multi-page menu in HD. The multi-page menus are traditionally these kind of menus which have, which would be used for your scene selections, so they have more options, more buttons. For the majority of you, just choosing the menu in HD will be enough. So if we go to, for example, class menu HD, I'm now going to double click this and it will import the menu into my flowchart here. So I'll just give it a moment to do that. Now, if we grab, what we need to do now is sort of set up that we need to bring this into our project, and if we just drag it in, you'll see how it's doing things that we don't want it to do. So what you've got to do to make sure that things are signed up correctly is grab the pick whip from the DVD and drag it to here. That is then telling Encore that once your audience puts the DVD into their media player, the first thing they're presented with is this screen. Now, if you had a show reel and you wanted that to be the first thing, you could drag the DVD to play this, and then once this ends, you could have it play this menu. Some people like to do that as well. So if your menu structure is starting to get a bit scruffy, you can just click Auto Layout All and it just moves things into position for you, and you can scroll around like this. So if I click on this menu, you'll notice on the right hand side we've got some options. You can rename things. We're not going to do any of this. What I want to do is show you how you can customize these templates using Photoshop. So to do that, I'm going to right click this menu, and you'll see it says Edit Menu in Photoshop. So I'm going to click on that, and I'm just going to wait for Photoshop to open up. And we're going to talk through how to edit it without losing button functionality and all the rest of it. So this should just be loading up now for us. We'll wait a moment. Here we are. Now, when Photoshop opens, if you get any error messages for fonts or things like that, just make sure you click OK. Those fonts would need to be signed up, but you're potentially not going to be able to. So you might need to double click on the text icons and just change the font to Arial or something which is quite standard and generic. Okay, so it's just opening it up now for us. Excellent. Okay, so as you can see there, it's saying resolve missing fonts with typekit. I'm just going to try to skip through this. Don't resolve. Okay. So you'll notice at the top here I've got a text icon with an exclamation mark. If I try to save this document, it's probably going to give us an issue. So I'm just going to delete that. Because it's going to give us some issues and problems. So what I can do then is grab the text icon just here on the left hand side, draw a text box, and I could call this Oliver's Tutorial. Hit Command A and increase the size so we can see it. I'm just going to hit this move tool and just drag it into place like so, and that's replaced the class of 07, I think it said there. Now I'm just going to go through the right hand side. So in Photoshop, if this is the first time you've used Photoshop, it should be nice and structured for you so you can see everything. If you turn off the eye icon here, you'll notice which areas it relates to. And if we drop this folder down by clicking this little arrow here, what you need to avoid is this here. So don't alter this. This is the button code which works across the board. So, but what you can do is change the text. So instead of putting select scenes, I might want to put something like special features. And at this stage I can extend my box as well so it can all fit in. And then if I need to move my box, I can just grab there and grab the text rather and move it around. If you're not seeing a text box pop up like this and it's annoying you, just at the top here you'll see an option that says Show Transform Controls. Make sure that that's ticked. Also, if you're trying to move things around and you've selected them on the layer here and they're not moving, you might need to make sure that auto select is ticked. I prefer usually to have this deselected so that I can't click anything else by accident. I'll only move the thing that I've selected down here on the right hand side, but it's all about what your main preference is. So I'll make that auto select again. So once you've changed the text for your buttons, you can move the buttons around. As long as you don't delete anything contained within these folders, you should be okay. You'll notice that there's also things for the picture frame. It gives you another option underneath that. You can delete these because they are just images, and you can put them, you can put your own images in there if you wanted to. So you can either just turn the eye off completely for that box, or you could just delete it entirely. The same goes for your background. This is just the stock background. You could change this to a screenshot of your film or whatever it is that you've got. Now, I'm going to leave this at this stage just because you'll be able to have a bit more of a play around with it. Make sure that you screenshot all your steps to put into your projects. Now, when I move this to the side, you'll notice that on Encore here, it hasn't updated. Now, the reason for that is you have to go to File and you've got to save this Photoshop file. So if I hit save, it should then automatically update in Encore, and you can see there it has done. So now we're starting to really get ahead with our project. What I'm going to do from this point is I'm just going to remove this link for a second, if I can. No, never mind. Okay, so what we're going to do now is sync up. These two buttons are noted just down here, and I'm going to grab the pick whip from Play All to my final major project. And because I've got nothing else, but I've left the button in there, I can drag this and put it there. Just to show you as an example as well, if you did want to get rid of this button, in your Photoshop file, you can just quickly grab the box and hit delete, and then just make sure you file and save it again. And then once this updates, that should disappear, and it has done. Okay, so now we're looking at our HD buttons. Just bear with me 2 seconds. That's better. Okay, that's just telling me that this, when it loops, it's going to be playing this. Now we've got to kind of housekeep our area a little bit. So we've got our menu, we've got the DVD. Once the DVD is inserted, it'll play the show reel. It'll then, once the show reel has ended or you've hit skip, it will bring you to the main menu. In the main menu, you've got one button that's Play All, and that Play All button will start playing our FMP, or what we imagine would be our FMP. If you've got this far, you just need to do one more step, which is to close the circuit, and you've got to tell Encore what the DVD is doing once this is finished playing. So at the moment when this finishes playing, it's going nowhere. So what you've got to do is just tie the loop by grabbing the pick whip for this and dragging it back to here, which it's not doing. And I wonder if that's because I'm coming across some issues purely because I'm trying to show this with just one video clip. So, and also I pick whipped this Play All to this show reel, which is already finished at this point, so that's why this is greyed out and causing me a bit of an issue. So what I'm going to do is just hit the find the show reel once more and just create another timeline, and then that should pop up in our flowchart at the bottom, which it has done. And then I'm going to grab the Play All and select it, which is how you would do it if you had multiple videos. They should all appear down here, or multiple timelines. They should all appear down here for you to pick whip over to. So now once this is finished playing, we're going to link it back to the main menu, just like a DVD would. When a film finishes, it takes you back to the main menu. So that's how my flowchart's looking. Quite basic, but it's good enough. It's built enough for what I need it for. So at this stage now, I'd put my DVD into the computer, and on the top left-hand corner, we've got Build. You've got some options up here. Make sure that the format is set to DVD. Make sure the output is DVD disc. That'll actually write a disc for you. Your source should be created using current project. So if either of these two are showing, make sure it's current project. And you've got it'll show you the destination, how fast the DVD can rip at, and it'll tell you disk info and things like that. You can click this check project button, which will just make sure that there's no broken links, and if there are any issues, they would pop up down there. And then once you've done all of these little checks, you can also make sure that your regional codes are selected to all regions, or if you just want them to play in any of these locations, then you can tick custom. There is copy protection on these on Encore. However, for this purpose, you can tick unlimited copies are allowed. And once you're ready, you then hit the build button. Now, I don't have a DVD input, but you can press build. Now, if you want to, while you're here, you could potentially change this to 2, so you can create a DVD for yourself, for your own purposes, to keep hold of for future reference, to show people, or if you just want to keep it to 1, if you're only selecting 1 to give in to college, and that's all you want it for, you can do that also. So at that point, hit build, and then it should create your DVD, and once it's finished, you'll be able to eject the disc. So I hope that's clear. If you do have any issues, just let your tutors know and we can help you through any of these areas. But the main troubleshooting is make sure that all of these, the flowchart links to something, even at the end of the project, you link it back to your main menu. So once this finishes, it goes through it. If you do want to just make sure that it works, you can do a test. And if I remember how to do that correctly, it's preview. You click that little option there, and it shows the first thing was our show reel. Once I click skip, it's taken us to here. I can then hit play, and it takes us to that again. I press skip, and it should take us back to the menu. So you can make sure that all of your project is working by doing that. Right, that's the end of this tutorial. Thank you for listening.